Hello and welcome. One of the key pitches of the Narendra Modi government at the center is that a new India is being built. Whose India is this? Is this an India that is better than the Nehruvian construct that played itself out in our country over the last 7 decades? Or does it undermine a lot of what India originally stood for and wanted to stand for? And where does the youth stand in this concept of New India? Is the youth being empowered to dream big and to go out and achieve their dreams? Or is dissent and freedom of speech being crushed and the youth being constrained in what they can and cannot say? To debate this idea of whose India it is, we're joined now at the India Today Conclave South by two fiery young spokespersons from the Bharatiya Janata Party and from the Congress. Let me introduce first Tejasvi Surya, firebrand Bangalore's Member of Parliament of the Bharatiya Janata Party, and squaring off against him, someone who will give as good as she gets, Supriya Srinath of the Congress. So welcome and thank you so much for joining us. I want to start by getting Tejasvi to talk about the new India that you think is being built. Why is it that you think that this new conception of India is better than Congress's conception of India? Why do you feel that the youth are more empowered in India today than they've been in the India of the past? Tejasvi.
Thank you so much, Rahul. I think the Congress party for a very long time consciously kept India and Indians poor. As a result of that, young Indians, generations after generations, were deprived of opportunities and great potential, left unspent and unexploited. In New India, under the Prime Minister's leadership, a new culture of respecting talent, respecting meritocracy, respecting hard work, and placing performance over pedigree, whether it is in politics, whether it is in sports, whether it is in any area of work, is what is given importance. Two, young people are consciously being given opportunities. And opportunities can be given only by a political system and a political institution which allows for competition to flourish. Not a political party which is so insecure that if capable, talented young people rise in that particular party system, it may be a competition, it may be a threat to the party's dynasty. So that is the second part. The third part is New India has new icons. The new icons of India are like T. Natarajan, who, coming from the smallest of places, achieved the biggest of dreams through sheer hard work, capability, and talent. New India is ambitious. And New India does not shackle our young people's ambitions in the license quota permit Raj of the Nehruvian era, which is why you find unicorns, you find big startups, you find Indians wanting to enlist companies in exchanges in the United States. So young India, under the Prime Minister's leadership, is unbound, it is audacious, it is ambitious, and it is very clear and it is very certain that the government system will facilitate and support its ambition and drive and not stifle it. This is the most important
Supriya,
difference.
Tejasvi can say that he is a symbol of New India. At a time when his party had to choose whether they'd pick the wife of the former MP, they chose him, young, audacious, ambitious, all the terms he used to describe New India. And he compares that with the party that you represent, where no matter how talented you are, how hardworking you are, there'll always be a person with a certain tag, a certain surname, who'll have a much better chance of leading the party and a far brighter chance of benefiting from the political power that you get with that than you would, even if you're 100 times more talented. He says that is the difference. He is the difference between the old India which you represent and the new India which he represents.
I think rhetorical statements talking about New India need to be countered with facts. To my friend here, when he says the Congress kept the people poor, You have the unique distinction of leading our economy into the recession, first time ever. You have the unique distinction of letting unemployment rise to a 45-year high. You have the unique distinction of industry unwilling to spend. In 2020, forget about 7 years, in 2020 last year, 7,000 high net worth individuals quit this country, went somewhere else and invested there. Is this what New India stands for? You have the unique distinction of letting petrol cross 100, letting LPG prices rise by 225 rupees and not utter a word. You have the unique distinction where students are jailed, where activists are charged for sedition, where farmers are sitting outside New Delhi for the last 3.5 months, 260 of them have died, and not a word from the Prime Minister. Is this New India? Is Tejasvi here willing to put his hand on his heart and say he's sorry for the death of 260 farmers? Not a word. So New India is a rhetorical question. I think 8.3% GDP growth when you brought in the Tughlaqi Farman of Notbandi. What happened after that? We dropped to 4.1%. Our economy will shrink by 8% this year. And a shrinking economy means the volume, the size of the economy is shrinking. So you have unique distinction because you came in on the promise and premise of building hope for the future. You've actually ruined the present. And there is no hope for the young. Where are the jobs? So New India has no place for dissent. It has no place for diversity. It has no place for disagreement. It has no jobs and it has no economic growth. I don't know what New India really stands for.
Tejasvi Surya, you promised hope. You've delivered despair.
Rahul, sorry, but she still hasn't answered your question. The question of the political import of not allowing non-dynasts to rise in the party. That was the spirit of the question that you posed, and she's very conveniently sidestepped the whole thing. I still want her to go back and answer that.
I was answering some of the rhetorical statements that my friend here made. I thought countering them with facts will perhaps make him give a clarification.
Madam, this is I'm telling you, I really want the Congress party to have someone like you as its national president. Someone who is articulate enough like you.
You are trying to get her into trouble.
No, I'm not going to get into trouble.
I'm trying to honestly tell you, I'm trying to fight for India's democracy.
No, I think this question has gone on for so long. I will answer that question for you. I don't just come for TV debates or conclaves. I also work tirelessly in a rural constituency of Maharajganj, back of beyond in Uttar Pradesh. When I go there and when I meet the Congress women and men and I ask them who your leader is, and if 9 out of 10 people there say Rahul Gandhi or 10 out of 10 people say Rahul Gandhi, I can't come to Chennai or Delhi and be fashionable and say, yes, let's get somebody else. I think the leader of the Congress party has to be decided by the Congress workers. And if the workers believe in a certain individual, so be it. I don't give anybody the right to decide that for me.
Sure, but can I just
even in a new India.
Supriya, if you say who should be the leader and they say Rahul Gandhi, one of the reasons that they say Rahul Gandhi is because they know no other leader. If somebody else had been given an opportunity, let's assume that you say who's the captain of the Indian team and people say Virat Kohli, correct. But when Virat Kohli makes way and Ajinkya Rahane comes in, he can lead India to victory against all odds in Australia. One of the problems with the Congress seems to be the complete disbelief or the inability to believe that there can be a future without the Gandhi family.
Actually, let me turn that question around. It's not disbelief. It is belief that he is our leader. He sets the narrative. He sets the tone. He puts this government in the dock, and which is why the argument keeps coming back to us. Why don't you have a different leader? I think that's a question for us to decide. If I am here representing the Congress party, it is my right to choose my leader. I'm not going to allow you or Tejasvi or anybody else to tell me who my leader should be. I'm asking questions on whose India it is and what is New India?
But
why am I not getting an answer there?
We're coming to that. But
yes.
Your leader also seems confused. Let's assume you have a leader like Modi or Amit Shah, who's certain that he has a certain conception of India, he wants to take India into the future, he's willing to work 24/7, 365 to achieve that. Good, bad, ugly, you can argue about that, but he has a vision. Your leader seems thoroughly confused about whether he even wants the job, doesn't want the job, wants to fight, go off for Vipassana, go to Italy, stay in India, go into the sea for a swim in Kerala, etc. How you can be a leader if you're convinced that you want to stay in the battleground and fight?
You know, as an aside, I just think Mr. Modi should start working a little less. Working so tirelessly, 18 hours, 24 hours a day, and landing us with 8% and first-time recession. Let's work a little less. Let's take a few breaks. Let's come with some refreshed ideas instead of the same rhetoric of polarization, instead of the same rhetoric of New India, which are nothing but empty words. As far as my leader is concerned, I think he consistently questions this government. He wants to do the role of the opposition as well as he could, but what does the opposition need? The opposition today needs a very, very strong media, a media that is willing to ask some tough questions, and an independent judiciary. With all due respect to a profession that continues to be my first love, I don't see very many independent journalists today willing to ask questions. Petrol prices are at 100. How many TV channels have done shows?
We've done many shows. You've been on our show.
You may be an exception. A Swedish company, in its report, has accepted they have bribed Indian ministers. And there is pin drop silence. Forget at the government, even within the media. How many primetime televisions have questioned what is this scam? Who has been paid? Because this is a government report and it very categorically says that ministers and chief ministers in this country have been bribed. Is it not the prerogative of the media to question this? If this was 2012, would we see this on primetime television or not? That's a question.
But you've seen it on TV when the press conference happened, it was covered widely. But I want to build on
Rahul,
what
how
Supriya
many
is saying.
TV shows primetime on this?
You can't answer for what the Aam Aadmi Party is doing. You say we are the exception, I can't answer for what the others do. Our conscience is clear, we speak truth to power and we do it as best as we can. But Supriya has some questions, which is the contrast between rhetoric and fact. You promised hope, she alleges that you delivered despair, that we're in the middle of a recession out of which we're just emerging out of. The fact also is that unemployment is high. Farmers of Punjab, Haryana, Western UP are sitting on now a protest for more than 100 days. She also says that freedom of speech is under threat and youngsters are feeling stifled. So compare the rhetoric that you promised and the delivery on the ground. Tejasvi.
Well, insofar as the recession allegation is concerned, all of us have, even Supriya ji lives in the same world as we do. All of us are aware that the COVID pandemic affected not just India, but around the world, and all countries across the world are facing a huge economic challenge. So we are not isolated from that. And it's only this government which has managed to save both lives and livelihood, is why the recovery from the recession has been so effective and so real. Insofar as the farmers' question is concerned, in my opening remarks, I told that this country, under the name of Nehruvian socialism, chose to keep India deliberately poor. The governments after governments practicing the same brand of Nehruvian socialism were experts at redistributing poverty and never for an ounce created prosperity in the country. And this was done by creating hundreds of laws, hundreds of regulations. And for the first time in India's history, this government has consistently, not just in the farm sector, but across the economy, tried to unshackle the Indian economy and give the young Indian farmer as well as the entrepreneur his freedom to choose the way he wants to run his business, the way he wants to run his farm, and the way he wants to sell his proceeds. So dialogue is necessary. The very fact that the government has been speaking continuously, engaging continuously with a handful of farmers from two states, Punjab and Haryana, is also a testimony to the fact that this is a government which is sensitive, which wants to indulge in dialogue. Across the country, other than the two states, farmers are very happy with these farm laws. Insofar as the question of young people, jobs, everything is concerned, Rahul, there is only one fact that I want to place on record here. This government under the Prime Minister has lifted the highest number of Indians out of poverty ever. Highest number of Indians out of poverty ever have been lifted by this government. And this could not be done without creating jobs. This could not have been done without creating infrastructure. This could not have been done without managing the macroeconomy well. These are the facts, and these, whatever was so told in the name of facts, were nothing but untruth and rhetoric.
How is it untrue? I'm giving you figures.
Supriya, can you be accused of hypocrisy? Because you're currently here in your capacity as a Congress spokesperson.
Yeah.
In your previous capacity as a business news editor, if any government or think tank at that time had said we'll come up with farm laws which will unshackle Indian agriculture, ensure there is greater crop diversification, allow farmers to sell directly outside the mandi, also directly to customers, get better price for their products, someone like you would have said, thumbs up, that's a great idea. And now, because you wear a political sari, your view is completely different from what it would have been in your previous capacity.
I'm glad you kept it feminist and did not say hat because I'm not wearing one. I stated facts. I don't know which facts are you refuting. 8.3% was our growth in 2016. It came down to 4.1%. And let us not hide behind COVID for all your economic mismanagement. Even before COVID, for 8 successive quarters, which is for 24 months, 2 years, India's GDP growth was consistently falling, which is how we came from 8.3% to 4.1%. That's on you. Please don't hide behind COVID. We went from 5 of the fastest growing economies in the world to 164th slowest economies in the world in the last 1 year, thanks to your economic mismanagement. And these are not figures that I am building. These are figures that are coming from your agencies, the CSO, the Niti Aayog. I am not producing these figures, so either blame them for perhaps putting out what you say are untrue figures. I quote truth because I don't think there is any excuse to quote half lies. However, you say I don't know how you say you protected livelihood. Which part of the Indian industry protected livelihood during the corona crisis? I am unaware. Maybe this audience would want to know whether it was the MSMEs, whether it were big businesses, whether it was entrepreneurs. We saw businesses shut one after the other from the time demonetization happened. Yes, what you have done in the past is, in the last 7 years is, you have moved away from the idea of every business flourishing to letting a handful of 1 or 2 monopolies being created across sectors. You look at airports, you look at transport, you look at ports, there are monopolies. Rahul, because you told me, you reminded me of my journalism days, I interviewed Mr. Jaitley, I think a little while before he passed away, and I was still a journalist in 2019, and Indian Telecom was going through this big ruckus. And he is on record, and I can produce that clip if I have to, he's on record to say, the telecom regulator and the telecom minister are presiding over the death of Indian Telecom. He blamed his minister and the telecom regulator for that. So look at the kind of monopolies being created, and people like Mr. Jaitley were worried about this. You have gone on to create monopolies, and I hate to use rhetorical phrases, but I will. It is a hum do or hamare do ka economic management.
Okay, you respond to this.
Yes, I will respond to the farmer question. How are laws in this country created? They're either created that they are a part of your manifesto, or they are created that you have a special group that advises you on those laws. The farm laws are created without discussion, no discussion with the states, no discussion with stakeholders. These laws are created. Nobody is saying don't reform Indian agriculture. You have to reform Indian agriculture. It is not remunerative in its present form. But you've got to take the stakeholders on board. What are the stakeholders saying? Talk to us, reform Indian agriculture, take back these laws. The Prime Minister on the 20th of January said in the House that I am a phone call away. India has the distinction of seeing the highest number of internet bans. The day he said that, there were 18 districts in Haryana that saw an internet ban. How is he a phone call away? When was the last time the government even attempted to talk to the farmers? They are 30 kilometers away from South Block. They are 25 kilometers away from the Prime Minister's residence. What part of this argument does the Prime Minister or this government not understand? They are willing to talk. Have you called them in the last 1.5 months?
Why has the Prime Minister, Tejasvi Supriya asks, not bothered so far in the last 100 days to call the farmers over or go across to where they're sitting? If he's one with the masses, then what stops him from speaking directly to the farmers? She accuses your government of being a hum do hamare do sarkar.
Well, see, it's very easy to come up with Twitter quotes like hum do hamare do, because Rahul Gandhi's entire strategy of opposition seems to be limited by 280 characters. It was earlier 180, now it's grown to 280, so it depends on the Twitter's strength. Having said that, the government is very keen to engage with the farmers. There have been 10 rounds of meetings. It need not be the Prime Minister who himself speaks each time. Senior ministers of the government have gone and met with the farmers' representatives. Even now, even when the Prime Minister was speaking on the motion of thanks to the President's address, the Prime Minister very clearly mentioned that the government is all ears, the government is keen to talk. But what to talk on? While all of them, like the Congress party, championing the causes of the farmers, do not point out in all the hours of debates that took place on the farm laws, one single clause, one single word in all of the farmer statutes which were anti-farmer. So what to talk on? Please come up with an agenda. Tell us that A, Section 3.A or Section 3A is anti-farmer, this should be repealed. This specific word is something that we have a problem on. Tell us what your problem is. This is an opposition that is involved in calumny, in lies, and in make-believe opposition. Therefore, this is something that is a disgrace to India's democracy. And I'm saying this with a lot of responsibility, because India deserves, any robust democracy deserves a responsible opposition. But here we have an opposition which does not speak truth. Here is an opposition that rests its entire strength on the basis of falsehood, on creating fake narratives. So come up with what is your problem. For God's sake, tell which is the clause which is giving you a problem, and let's debate it.
Rahul, are you willing to believe that farmer associations that have met the ministers 8, 9 times, 10 times, I think, have not been able to point out what the problem is? Are you willing? Let me just finish.
Sorry,
I did not
just need 10 seconds. Just 10 seconds. Sorry, madam. I don't like to interrupt as well. But forget about the farmers' organizations. None of us are representative of them here. What about the Congress party? What
so
about
let
the
me come in now.
Congress party's leaders? You spoke for hours together in the parliament, but none of you, not a single leader of the Congress party, spoke one specific grouse that they had about this farm laws.
That's my other big concern. Just say a half-truth, shoot and scoot. That is the problem with the BJP. We have consistently pointed out the lacunas in the farm legislation. The first lacuna, when you say an entire market, you are actually opening up private sector to come in and set up alternate mandis, let's call them that. The first problem with that alternate mandis is that when the Prime Minister gets up and says, there will be MSP, he is talking about the APMC. He is not talking about the private buying. Why is it that the same Prime Minister, who was the working group chairman in 2011, had recommended that legislate, get MSP, ensure there is MSP as far as legislation is concerned? Why is he going back on his word? That's the first thing. That's the first problem. Let me finish, please. That's the first problem. When you say markets open up, there is no MSP. When you say when you reform, what you call reform, the Essential Commodities Act, you are basically saying any amount of hoarding can happen, and the legislation very clearly says, as far as perishables are concerned, the prices have to rise at least 50%. As far as non-perishables are concerned, the prices have to rise at least 100% before the government intervenes. And the government will not put hoarding restrictions. They will only intervene to see if pricing is okay.
Okay.
So these are very, I mean, what part of this legislation is not clear to the BJP and our opposition not clear to them? It's very good to sit here and pretend there is one second. This is also a narrative being built that nobody knows what is being opposed. I mean, there are 260 farmers who've died. No, you think they're dying without a cause? You think they don't know what they're dying for? I think it's shameful at one level and insensitive of the government to say nobody knows what they're opposing, whether it's the opposition or the farmers. 260 people during bitter cold have died, and you are still saying people don't know. How much are you going to disrespect India's farming communities? Forget about anything else. That's the question. Are you willing to today apologize for the death of 260 farmers? Put your hand on your heart and tell me just that.
Madam, common sense.
Please tell me about the death of 260 farmers.
Madam, you should have, if at all you were so concerned, you and your leader should have gone and spoken to the farmers there and convinced them.
You are in government. When will you get out of this mindset
not
of
rather
being in the
misled
opposition?
them. Let's not go there. Let's come
You
back
have
to
been
brass
in the-
tacks.
yeah.
Let's come back to
No,
brass
let's
tacks.
talk brass tacks. 260 deaths. Are you willing to
Madam-
apologize for it? Are you willing to express concern? Are you willing to pay
Will
your
you
tribute here
apologize
today?
for all the 70 years of socialism which kept generations and generations
No,
of
no,
India
no.
poor
Tejasvi, don't
and
get into
killed them?
rhetoric.
Will you
Don't
apologize?
get into
Start
rhetoric
apologizing
again.
from
Don't
there.
you dare get into rhetoric
Stop,
again with me.
start
Don't
start
get into
apologizing
rhetoric
for
with me.
keeping
I'm
India
asking
poor.
you,
Keeping
260
millions
farmers
and
dead in
millions
your regime,
illiterate, and then
30
I will come to
kilometers
my
away from the
apology.
city of Delhi. You have nothing to say? Is this the country you want to run? You put
She
people,
does
you
not
put
want to
students.
debate
No,
on
I'm
farm
sorry,
laws.
I am
Is why
debating.
she's going back
The
to these
problem is you
rhetorical,
don't have facts.
emotional
The
questions.
problem is you only
You don't
want to debate on
to.
fiction.
You don't want to
I'm
debate
asking
on.
you a question.
You don't want to debate
Why
on.
do you think India's economy went
You
down
don't
from
know-
8.3%
This is a very
to
educated
4.1%?
audience, madam.
So please
Don't-
tell me,
don't-
this educated audience understands exactly what you're running away from. You're running away
Let me
from
tell you
a
what you are
debate
running
on
away
facts.
from.
You are
You are
debating.
running away from
You
the
are
fact
running
that
away
we-
on a debate
I don't
on
want to do
facts.
this.
That's the problem.
I don't want to
You
be
want to run
speaking
away
when she's
from
speaking.
facts. You want to talk rhetoric. I'm not willing to do that.
Okay, I want to just.
Can I get 15 seconds?
Okay,
off?
15 seconds.
Madam, what you have not answered is the laws are not going to stop the APMC. What is the problem? The farmer has a choice. He can one second, please. He can choose to sell to a private guy. He can also choose to sell in APMC. I had asked this question even in Parliament. Rahul Gandhi must have the freedom to contest from Wayanad if he feels he cannot win in Amethi. But should the Indian farmer not have the choice to contest from sell to Kerala or sell to?
I want to answer that
If he gets a
question.
better price?
I'm just going to answer that question in 5 seconds.
Why
5
not
seconds.
the choice for the Indian farmer?
86% farmers in this country, I don't know if you have any association with farmers. I have. 86% farmers in this country have land holdings of less than 2 acres. So I don't know if Tamil Nadu farmer can go and sell in Tripura or if Manipur farmer
Oh,
can
madam,
go and sell
please
in Meghalaya.
don't
Let me finish.
simplify the whole
no,
thing.
No, 1 second. How is
Madam,
it simplifying?
please.
I'm giving you facts.
Let- let's-
86%
you speak, I
farmers
will
have
take
less than
10
2
seconds.
acres of
I
land.
also want to move to
That's
the
the
next
trouble.
topic. Okay, is
No, no, can
free.
I-
Okay, 10 seconds.
Not even that much.
No, but I should have a right to retort. If you
I
don't
want to
get
move
this
on
10
also.
seconds.
You
Then
should
you-
have
this
actually
is-
told this is
this
about
is-
farm
this
debates,
is-
Rahul, rather
this is
than,
what- this is
rather
what
than New
happens.
India, because she's very uncomfortable with discussing New India because Congress is still stuck in old
No,
India.
you are the
So
one
which
who's
is why she wants to
uncomfortable.
discuss only
I'm
on farm
asking
laws.
You, are you willing to apologize and pay tribute to 260 farmers who are dead?
Madam,
You are
start
not
with
willing to do
70
that.
years of your
You are
crimes.
not willing
Start
to
with
do that.
apologizing for all
India,
70
and
years
by the
of your
way,
mistakes.
You also
Then let
lied
us
right
start-
now when
let
you
us
said
consider.
largest number of people out of poverty. World Bank report says the largest number of people are being pushed under poverty because of your economic mismanagement.
Okay,
You should
so,
start reading economic
one
data
of-
will do you
one
some
of
good
the
in
things
politics.
I don't know which Google you refer to.
No, I don't refer to Google. I don't come
WhatsApp
from your,
University.
I don't come from the IT cells that fabricate WhatsApp and fake news. I come from an institution where we believe in researching, where we believe in data. It's time we
Rajiv
start
Gandhi
doing that.
Institute.
No, I come from an institute where I've been taught to research data. Unlike you that gets up in the morning and sees some WhatsApp and says the largest number of people pulled out of poverty. That happened in the UPA, 26 crore people. You should know that. If you don't know that, shame on you.
Madam, well, please, I wouldn't.
No, it's bad. You
madam,
can't lie here.
I would want a certain parliamentary tenor
Yeah,
and
then you
discussion
should
to
have the
this.
parliamentary
Therefore,
tenor.
therefore,
if you want to start pulling
no.
in my leaders and start saying where he should contest from and not, I will also then retort with the same way, na, Tejasvi?
But there's a certain dignity that you should bring to a debate, madam, and especially coming
So
from a
stop
seasoned
lying. That's the
journalist
first
like you.
dignity we should bring to the
Like
debate.
you, I would appreciate that kind of a
we should
discussion,
first
decorum
stop
in
lying
discussions.
on numbers
Please.
as far as the dignity of a
You
debate
know,
is
okay,
concerned.
one of the things we try and do at the India Today group is to raise the standard of debate and conversation, not allow this to degenerate and fall to the level of a banana republic, but actually to allow people to win through the power of their argument, not through the noise that they make. In the few minutes that we have left now, I want to focus on this whole aspect of freedom of speech in New India. Two new international reports that have come out by non-governmental organizations seem to suggest that the international concern and belief is that India is degenerating to an area where it's not safe to speak your mind any longer. How do you respond to these concerns? And do you believe in the new India that you're so passionate about? It's now dangerous to have a point of view which is different from that of the government.
Rahul, insofar as these Western publications are concerned, my only submission is that these publications and these institutions making these studies must start focusing inwards, more focusing on their own countries and their own societies than starting commenting on India. If we look at most of these countries, most of these societies, on far many indicators, they perform worse than what we do. Therefore, we must take all those opinions, all those research papers with a bucket of salt. That's the less said, the better about them. Insofar as the other question that you said about whether young India is free to speak, this is a government that encourages dissent. This is a government which wants responsible opposition. This is a government that wants people to give constructive feedback and criticism. Unfortunately, that's the only one thing that's missing from the opposition today. And dissent is very different from asking for tukde of the country. These are two very different points. So you cannot couch an argument for India's disintegration and dismemberment as dissent. There's a very, very strong fine line between the two. So this government encourages. Why government? The constitution of the country gives everyone a right to practice freedom of expression with the only riders that are there in Article 19. So this is a government that celebrates it. This is a government that welcomes feedback. But unfortunately, the opposition seems to not have either the intellectual or the courage of conviction to come up with that kind of a responsible opposition work.
I can't help crack up. I don't know if you did or not, that this government encourages dissent. I'm just going to quote you 4 examples from UP. There was a reporter who reported that children in Mirzapur were being served salt and roti. He faced sedition charge, was in jail for 3 months. My namesake, Supriya Sharma from Scroll, put out a report. Musahars in Varanasi are still eating grass because of poverty. She faces a sedition charge. A young girl was being made to mop the floors. A local reporter in Devariya reported that during COVID while her mother was admitted. He faces sedition charge, still in jail. This new India, this dissent, I don't know about. And while we were all fighting COVID, while we were expecting that the Prime Minister and his government is squarely focused on saving lives and livelihoods as was being told, 9 ministers from this government had gotten together and they were trying to understand how to neutralize anybody who was speaking against the government in media. And I hate to say this, members of the media, this is a report that's out in the public domain. Members of the media should come out and should take positions. Were they used? Did they know what was happening? Because things have been attributed to these people. MPs from this government have been quoted in this report and said, we should give that little extra to our reporters in a calibrated way. What is that little extra? Ministers have been quoted as saying, we'll put 50 people under surveillance. Ministers have been quoted to say, we need to build a universe of thinkers who are going to talk about us without actually appearing to do so. If you're doing everything right, you don't need to control narratives. Narratives will get built if you were doing the right thing. The problem is, you raise a voice against the government, you will be called a dissenter is today going to be faced with sedition charges, and that is across segments. It's journalists, it's bureaucrats, it's leaders in the opposition, it's everywhere. And if you join the BJP though, tab aap Ganga naha lete hain. मुकुल रॉय, हेमंत बिस्व शर्मा, येड्डी, एनीबडी, आप बीजेपी में आ जाइए, आप एक गोता लगाकर आ गए, कोई दिक्कत नहीं.
Tejasvi, in this new India, the opposition alleges you can be arrested for jokes you didn't crack, that you can be charged with sedition for putting out a story the government doesn't like. You've studied law, you have a good understanding of law. Do you think that this government is using the sedition law excessively, and does that undermine the idea of freedom of speech and expression that you were talking about so passionately?
Not at all. There may be instances that may have happened at a SHO level in some parts of the country, but that cannot be the policy of the government. The government is very clear that the government encourages all kinds of dissent. The government protects constitutionally all freedom of expression of every Indian citizen. And this is the stated, this is the most tolerant, most supportive government ever that we have all known, which supports consistently different views. It's sad that the opposition, instead of cracking bringing jokes to discussion, has become a joke by itself. So that's the cause of worry and concern, Rahul.
People are arrested and police cannot produce witnesses, police cannot produce evidence, but people have been jailed for 3 months.
Madam,
what sort of governance
I do not even want to start. I do not even want to start by the kind of harassment journalists are being meted out in your supported Maharashtra, and you are here coming and giving lecture on freedom of expression.
Let's talk about freedom of speech and
expression. The kind of
in
harassment
the
that journalists are being meted out to in Maharashtra.
The complete
the kind of harassment that you met out to journalists and cartoonists in the kind of your
the kind of character assassination people do.
Get there.
Please, the kind of character assassination people do. People are.
Answer what you do to journalists in Maharashtra.
What are you doing with
why
journalists
don't,
in UP?
No, why don't you?
No, what are you doing with
Madam,
journalists?
see,
I quoted 4 instances. Counter those 4 instances for me.
Madam, you
Why
counter the instances of Maharashtra when your alliance partner goes and tonsors a person's head for showing a clip of somebody. Why are you silent?
Why is that sedition charge?
Madam,
why does sedition charge? No, why is
over
because you
each
don't
other.
have an answer to that. You don't like to do this when it's convenient. I'm asking you a question. There is a guy who reports he's a small-time reporter. He reports Mirzapur में बच्चों को नमक रोटी मिल रहा है. Why is he facing sedition charge? Why is he in jail for 3 months? Who's fighting for him? Is this the new India you're talking about?
Madam,
is this transparency? Why should the government not take accountability for it?
Madam,
Are you
let
going
me,
to,
let
I'm
me
giving
tell you very
instances.
clearly. Let me,
I'm not going to give you
no,
motherhood statements.
Madam,
harassment.
I am going
I'm
to,
giving you specific
I am going
instances.
to give you a
Or
specific
either you
instance.
say that, Mr. Yogi is not in your control. MP
In
mein-
the specific instance that you have quoted, I am going to tell you, madam, I am not fully aware of the facts. However,
I have
hang
quoted
on,
you
madam,
5
hang on.
instances.
No, no, hang
Answer
on,
one of
hang
them.
on, hang
You
on.
can't say I'm not fully aware of the
However,
facts.
please hang on, listen to this. However, I am on record condemning any initiation of such prosecution against, if the facts of the case are as you have presented. Will you condemn the actions of the Maharashtra government that you support
When you
against
say-
the journalists
when you
that you
say
have done?
condemning the
Do you do
facts-
that?
So
Do
I
you
will
do
not
that?
say-
One
I will
second.
not do that. I will not do
One
that.
second.
I'll tell you
Supriya,
why.
Supriya,
Because
Supriya,
I don't think
Will you do
Tejaswi,
I don't
okay.
think what is being done
I have the
today by
courage
that
of conviction.
particular individual
Do you
is
have that
journalism.
courage of
I have
conviction?
been a
Sup-
journalist.
Supriya,
I am
stand
not
by your
journalist.
Supriya,
I
Tejaswi.
don't support it. I will
No,
not
one
stand
second.
by it.
Supriya, Tejaswi.
I'm asking you.
No, one second. We're now coming to the end of this conversation. I don't know if our producers have some boxing gloves. Do they have some boxing gloves? Some helmets and some guards. But here's what I want to end with. Is it not a fact, Supriya, that over the past 6 years, Tejaswi's party, the Bharatiya Janata Party, has demonstrated the ability to appeal to India's youth far more successfully than your party has. For all of what you may say, young India at this moment, when it comes to voting, is going out in large numbers and voting for the Bharatiya Janata Party, where despite everything you've just alleged, your party hasn't been able to win the young vote.
You wait and see what happens next. There is a reason why Modi Rozgar Do trends without IT cells, troll armies, political parties for 6 straight days. There is a reason why there is such disquiet in this country, and you will see this manifest the kind of unrest one is seeing. Poverty is followed by lawlessness, which is followed by joblessness. It's a vicious cycle. That cycle is in motion. The BJP may not want to pay attention to this. They may want to look away in another direction. The reality is this is going to distort our social fabric. You take it from me in writing. We're all going to pay a very heavy
In
price for it.
conclusion, are you concerned that the young India that voted for you in such big numbers in 14 and 19 is now beginning to feel disenchanted?
Rahul, young India is not cynical like madam. It's not having doomsday predictions. Young India is positive, young India is hopeful, young India is looking forward to a very bright, positive future. Therefore, the young India very clearly understands, and also young India, Rahul, I keep saying this, our Prime Minister Narendra Modi is a product of New India. For the first time, India has the largest number of young, educated, middle-class electorate, which is why 70 years of the kind of dirty politics that was practiced does not hold ground and has no currency in this new India, and will be rejected lock, stock
The
and
same
barrel
young India, the same
repeatedly
new
as
India
long
where
as
there
they
are no
continue
jobs,
with those
where
old
there is
policies.
going to be high poverty, where crimes
wake
against
up,
women will rise.
smell the
That is
coffee,
what is going on.
stop being
You smell the
cynical,
coffee.
and get up. Let's build a new
Look
India. Thank you
at
so much,
what
Rahul.
happens to women in states ruled by you. Smell the coffee. It's time you do that. Look at what happens to journalists in states ruled by you. Look at what happens to activists in a country ruled by you. Wake up and smell the coffee. It will do you some good.
I think
Madam,
we need
be
some
hopeful.
nice.
Things are not as bad.
I think we need some nice South Indian filter coffee after this for having lit up the India Today South Conclave with the power of your arguments. Tejaswi Surya and Supriya Shrinath, thank you so much for joining us here in Chennai. Thank you.